okay, we've hit a cap here. We can't take on any more clients. We're not putting enough energy into our own business. We need a team.
Welcome back to Duo On Air. I'm Abby.
And I'm Courtney.
And we're the ex-agency turned entrepreneurial team that puts the duo in Duo Collective. Our boutique organic marketing agency specializes in SEO, social media strategy, and branding.
We're an everyday pair of business besties / marketing experts obsessed with helping our community learn more about what it takes to run a business.
Which is why on Duo On Air, we're not holding anything back. We're giving you all the info we know about how to grow your business organically so you can be the confident CEO you were made to be.
And how to navigate life as a small business owner.
Whether it's on your own or with your best friend by your side, so grab your coffee
or your mimosa, we don't judge,
and settle in for a quick value-packed episode of Marketing Tips.
Welcome back to the Duo On Air podcast. This is episode number 147, and today we're talking about how we've decided to build our business with an agency model in mind, which has been a big conversation for us ever since we started, basically.
I'm not going to lie, I've been anti-agency for a very long time.
She has. Kind of like I was anti-AI for a while, but I got over that a lot quicker than she did.
Yeah. I truly don't know why I was so anti-agency. I mean, Courtney knows this, like I had a great experience at our agency, like on my team and like with the people I worked with, like I loved it.
She probably had a better agency experience than I did. Mine was really great at first, like really, really good. And then halfway through it really just wasn't, and it never got better.
It really depended on your team, who you worked with, who your clients were, all of them, which we had great clients at the end. But my
team changed a lot, and that change was hard to process and then get into the group.
And then I left you.
And then she left.
But to do this, really.
She left to help save me.
But yeah, I think you just kind of get like when you break off from something, it's like a little bit of PTSD, and it's also like you're creating something different and unique. And I think in my head, I've always been like, let's do something different, because I feel like as you grow a service-based business, you have two options to scale. You have to create a product that is scalable, and you have to sell that. And like, that's a digital course, or it's, some kind of like one-to-many kind of approach, or you grow by adding people and you grow in an agency. And I still like, my brain still works in a way, and Courtney knows this about me, it works in a way where I'm like, there's gotta be something different, unique, like something in the middle. And if you know what it is, please tell me, because I'm still like trying to find what that is.
It's called a unicorn.
Yeah, it's a unicorn. I'm looking for it. But I think that's what I've been like trying to figure out just like internally for so long, because I wasn't sure about the agency. But organically, we've brought the right people onto our team, and it's like made everything so fun.
And it's made running our business and scaling an opportunity, something that we can actually do, because we hit the ceiling. We literally hit the ceiling for how much we could put into this business. And that ceiling equals, we have so many clients that, because we need to get paid, we need to keep the lights on, right? But we have so many clients that our business starts to suffer, right? Or vice versa. Like, we're working on us, and then we don't have clients, and then we can't keep the lights on. So it was this weird balance of like, okay, we've hit a cap here. We can't take on any more clients. We're not putting enough energy into our own business. We need a team.
Yeah. And I think so. We had a lot of conversations with like some of the coaches and people in our lives. And I think there's a lot of people out there who run a business, and they like, you're looking for something like some kind of stability, but so like you're okay with, I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. I'm just like blabbering on, but basically like you're okay with finding that level of revenue that's good for your life.
Yes.
So like so for us, for example, like this is the first year in the last 4 years of business where we were on track to do the same that we did year prior. And there's nothing wrong with that because we were busy. We had a good amount of clients. We were paying ourselves what we were paying ourselves at our corporate agency.
I took a maternity leave.
The
That
court
was
took a
paid.
maternity leave. We got bonuses. Like, that's good. Like,
That's
honestly,
really good.
we could live there.
Yes.
We could stay there. And all we'd have to do is figure out a good timeline structure and like how many clients we need a year. And we could make it this whole math equation to make sure that like, okay, we need to do this much to make sure we get this many clients and then we're good.
Mhm.
But I think we both asked ourselves this year, like, do you want that or do you want more? And I think we both still want more.
I think we're going to want more
Yeah.
until we're not breathing.
I know.
That's
And
just kind of who we are.
And I don't think there's wrong in either
No.
way. I actually really wish
Well,
I
some
could
days-
be that person some days.
Some
who's
days
just okay.
I wish that
Yeah.
too. Some days, like maybe we should go into 2026 like, hey, we're just going to get by.
Yeah.
We're just going to get by with the minimum. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to see if we liked that year or not.
Yeah.
But I think that is so hard too we're such both driven females that we have a next new goal or we want to go after this thing or we want to get to, X, Y, and Z for financially in our life for whatever reason. Like we want to go on more trips. So obviously that's going to cost a little bit more or something like that. Or I want to buy a new house or I want to do this. So, or I want to take 2 months off. It's just things like that you also have to make sure you're financially, set up for.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard for us to just kind of like
Stop. Well, not stop, but just stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a hard time staying.
We're not good at
that could be a
being.
whole, we probably, obviously that's a whole therapy session that we need, but I think we just want to keep growing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. And then we had to have that conversation. So one, that's a really good conversation to have in your business is there a place where you're going to be content and happy? What are we? And I've talked about this recently where when you go from corporate life to entrepreneurship, all of a sudden there is no ceiling. There is no next level. There's no promotion. There's no thing. You're just husttling you can hustle forever.
Yeah. Insert gif of kid from the
Yeah. Forever. It's kind of scary. And I think you do have to have that conversation or that moment where you think about what are my milestones? What am I going to set for myself so that one, you celebrate, and two, you don't hustle nonstop until you burn out, because I also think that's important.
Yeah, which I would say that we're not totally great at. Yeah, we're not great at not taking a break from the hustle. I feel like we hustle a lot. And we're not great at being like, what's that next level? And once we get there, let's celebrate. We don't do that. Glenn, I think, told Abby or brought it to Abby's attention when we reached our agency salaries, he was like, well, you guys reached those, right? And
They're
Abby,
in the same amount that the paychecks were before.
and Abby was like, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, you're right. And he was like, did you celebrate? And she was like, no, and we didn't. And then I think she texted me and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. We should probably celebrate, huh? Because we got to that point and we're like, oh cool, we're here. We didn't celebrate. We should have. But after we got to that point, the very next second, we were like, well, how do we get bigger?
Yeah.
So
It's definitely, it's a balance. And I think that's what's got us to this conversation we're going to talk about today too, because we were like, okay, cool. We both want to grow. And I also think in a partnership, you both have to be on the same page, because if someone is okay being content, then you restructure your partnership to figure out how, because you can make that work too.
yeah, absolutely.
But we were both no, we do want more for this biz. We don't feel done yet.
No.
And so that's exciting, but also meant we needed to restructure things. So how are we going to do that? Because I love our course. Our course is amazing and it's going to continue to grow. But right now it's not what our offerings are. It does not match that from a revenue perspective. And I think that we just aren't ready to give up working with clients.
No,
we do love working
there
with
is
clients.
a part of it that is, we love, and we love connection. We love watching people succeed. We love watching people get excited about their business. We love to teach people. And when we work one-on-one with our clients, we get that. We get that partnership and that feeling and kind of the warm fuzzies.
So we've really decided, and this has been one of my biggest fears, is that I think I would lose that time with clients, which like yeah, to some extent I might, but I think I was so deep in our business that we weren't like working on our business anymore. And so that was one of the biggest signs that like, okay, we have to go this route because we aren't being or playing our C-level roles that we need to play for Duo.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not playing those roles, it doesn't matter how busy we are and how much work we get, we're never going to grow.
No. And it's kind of like, what are you doing if you're not playing those
Yeah.
roles, right? Like as a business owner, if you're not stepping into those roles and acting as if in those roles, you are, again, going to kind of be just there. You're just going to be being, right? You're not going to be growing. You're not going to be, looking to the future vision of like what your business or your brand or your product is going to be. And that was a big aha moment for us where we were like, we're not C roles right now. I mean, we are, but we weren't doing our C role jobs. We were doing the day to day, the thing that like we could hire a team to help us do, the things that we shouldn't be focusing on as much because we should be focusing on these C level roles within our business.
Yeah. So we basically have gone through, if you don't know what a C level role is, we're talking like CEO, CMO, COO, CFO, like we're talking about all of the chief officers of your business. And
these big scary titles that when you're in the corporate world,
right?
Like, oh my gosh, there goes the COO.
Like if you run your own business and you're a solopreneur, you're doing all those.
Yeah, you are that
you
role.
Probably aren't thinking of it as that role, and so we kind of had to take this moment because we are a partnership to sit down and go through each role and to say, who owns more of this role, who's taking leadership in this role, and where are we going to hire to help for the other roles. So that was a really big thing that we have done this year, just to really kind of make sure that one, there's like roles and responsibilities for each of those kind of like C-level positions, what the responsibilities are of like, when are we going to meet? How are we going to meet? Like, what's happening? Like, how are we going to make sure that this function is being, played, like not forgotten about essentially for our business. So we've gone through that and really like just detailing all of that out. And then that's also when we realized that we need a team. Like we need someone who's going to be able to do the day-to-day so that we can step into more of those C-role responsibilities that we've detailed out. And honestly, so how we detailed these out, if you're like, how did you even do that? We use ChatGPT to help us actually. So
Chad,
our intern Chad, that's what we call our ChatGPT bestie. If you don't know,
best.
Chad is the best. Some days he can really be,
just like any intern. I mean,
yeah. But yeah, except for me, I was a great intern.
You were the best.
Chad he helped us outline all of the C-level roles. So basically what we said is like, hey, tell us, like, here's our business. Like, what would the CMO role be? Like, how would you define that? And what types of roles and responsibilities would this person play for our business? So if you give ChatGPT some background, like about who you are, who you serve, what you do, your day-to-day functions, and then have it spit out that role responsibilities. And so that helped us a lot. And then we also had these conversations too of how often are we going to meet to talk about this stuff? So like financial planning. Do we want to meet once a quarter, a couple times a year? How about like marketing? Do we want to meet same thing once a quarter, once a month? Like, how do we want to meet on this stuff? So we also didn't want to just inundate our calendar with a ton of meetings. So it was really important to be like, okay, I think like we can combine these, or like we should just do this quarterly and this one monthly, or this one only 2 times a year.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
we're trying to be very like strategic and conscious at the same time when it comes to meetings. We did an episode on meetings and we don't have it in here, but we'll link it in the show notes. But because for a long time we were anti-meeting too, and that hurt us because we were like, oh, that doesn't need a meeting, we'll just take care of that behind the scenes, or oh, that doesn't need a meeting, it can just be an email. And so a lot of that stuff, like not stepping into our C roles, not having these meetings, that's what really again made it so we couldn't continue to grow. And those are things that we since brought back, and we're not perfect at them yet. We just brought all the stuff back, right? And just started focusing on these C roles. So I'm excited to give you an update like a year from now on how everything has gone. But even at our annual planning meeting, we sat down and really worked through the different depths of these C roles, right? So we had Chad help us define what these are and what those things look like. But at our annual meeting, that helped so much to be like, okay, this is what Courtney's owning, and this is how she's going to build this, and this is what Abby's owning, how she's going to build this, and then this is our team, and this is how our team is going to help us to continually grow in the next year.
Yeah. So how are we kind of growing our team? Because this can feel like really overwhelming, I'm sure. I would say too, if you are someone who doesn't have a business partnership and you're running solo in your business, still defining those C-level roles of what your responsibilities are going to be and still blocking your calendar to spend the time to do some financial planning, spend the time to do some marketing planning and whatever it needs to be. Make sure you're blocking your time because you should still be doing that. And it can be hard to remember to do that if you don't have that time blocked. So for us, kind of how we are building our team to like going back to this of, okay, how are we going to start growing in more of this agency model? I think we've been calling ourselves an agency for a while. And there's always been people behind the scenes that have helped us here and there, but we're truly now making it more of right? Yeah. So we're starting slow. I mean, honestly, everyone that we're going to talk through, we're going to tell you who's on our team. If you're not a client of ours or a student of ours, you've likely haven't heard of them. You will start to hear about them a lot more. But we'll walk you through who those people are. We've been working with a lot of these people for years. Like it's not something that like we just hired them. Like they have been working behind the scenes in our business or like here and there in our business or a student of ours. Like they've been with us for a long time.
Or a sister-in-law and another sister-in-law.
Family. Yeah. But which, I mean, when you find the right people, you find the right people, you know? And then a big thing for us too, and this is going to continually evolve, but it's just kind of defining those roles and responsibilities for us and for our team. So, who's going to be responsible for us, making it very clear. We use Asana. I don't know, like as we grow our team, our Asana is getting wild. So who knows if it's going to continue to work for us, but it is getting wild. And we are creating like individual tasks to make sure that it's very clear who does what, defining roles. Like I cannot stress enough the clarity in when you bring someone on, making sure it is extra clear what they are doing. Because if they are a really good person that you want to stay with you in your company, you need to make it easy for them to stay.
Yes.
Like it shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, exactly. I think too, something that we struggled with, well, I guess I don't know if Abby struggled with it, but I personally struggled with it, is I was like, nobody can do it the way I do it, right? And that was a hard part for me. I knew we needed people, and luckily that it was just, I didn't really know her at first, and now I do, obviously, but it was just like such a blessing in disguise because it's hard to find a very particular brand designer or graphic designer, and you want somebody who is like right up there with you. And obviously there's, a piece of like training to it and getting them on a team and their processes and all. But I had a really hard time. And I've talked to Abby about it in the past. I'm like, well, I can do it faster. Or like, I just know this quick. I can do it quick. I'm a quick worker.
It's fine.
Very quick, which is like a positive, but also kind of a downfall because I know it. I'm like, oh, I can just jump in just like quick. And Abby's like, Courtney, you do 5 things every day really quick like that, and then you like lost 2 hours or lost whatever. And she's like, other people can do those things. You need to stop doing.
Well, it's also just the mental. I think it's not even like, okay, yeah, that task takes 5 minutes. It's not even that. It's the mental thing of knowing you have that task.
Yeah.
Like the second you take off the mental weight of like, oh, I don't have to do that. There you go, Minnesota. The second I said it, I was like, dang it. But it is like once you take that off of your brain, the weight of that task is sometimes heavier than the time.
It absolutely is. And ever since we've hired people to help us, it's incredible the amount of brain capacity I have now to work on C-level or to do these larger projects that I now have more like time for, right? And mental Love sports. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the second you see your Asana board filled with like 5,000 tasks for the week,
You shut down.
even if they're 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. It still looks stressful.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's all about just like alleviating that mental load.
Yes. Yeah.
So should we talk about the peeps?
Let's talk about these. Yeah. So let's introduce our team. I'll let Abby pick up the first one here.
Sweet. So Heidi is our director of smooth sailing.
And we like to have fun names.
I know. I can't remember. We're gonna have to pull those up for the
Oh, that's also I can find.
yeah. But Heidi is our project manager, and she is also my sister-in-law, and she has been so incredibly amazing. I think we brought her on right after your maternity leave around because I was drowning. Like I was literally melting. And one of the things that was really like eating up a lot of my time was sending contracts, sending proposals, setting up invoices, like all of that through Dubsado, like managing Dubsado. Then after a client committed, sending timelines, managing my timelines. Honestly, just the amount of mental energy it took me to look at my calendar and think of when things should be due was causing a lot of stress. And also just like, it just took a lot of time. Like it's time consuming. And that was something that I was like, I don't need, do I have to do this? Do I have to be the one to do that? And the answer is no.
No.
I don't.
No.
And Heidi does that so well. And she's the first person that as a client you get introduced to because she's the one that manages all of those timelines, make sure they have all the documents they need, make sure we have everything we need. So setting up our internal process, like setting up project timeline things in Asana, making sure we have our resources in all the right places. She is the wizard. She's literally the director of smooth sailing.
She's the one that keeps us going.
So she was the very first person
That we
brought on
like,
in an
hired
in an internal role.
Yes.
That was to like help us just manage our business.
Yes. And the next gal is also her sister-in-law.
Right. They're my husband's sisters.
Yes, and they're great. And so Dana is my sidekick. So she helps out with everything from a design perspective. And we gave her the title of creative
Aficionado. Is that what it is?
aficionado is how you say that. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of
Clearly I need to. And so it is very so that is a fun little title. And she's got such a unique story too because she didn't go to school for design. This is not kind of the path that she was going to take from a career perspective. I just met with her not that long ago and had a coffee and we kind of talked about her past. And she worked at was it like a
technology.
Yeah, technology company.
Corporate sales. So she would be like designing their training assets and their deck and everything internally for like this corporate sales company.
Yeah. And then she started to like really like it. And then a design opportunity arose within that company and she applied for it a couple of times, I think. Yeah. And it got to a point where she's like, I think they just hired me for that design position because I was getting annoying because I just kept applying to it. And she said that she was very like clear that like, yeah, I don't know these tools, but like I really like to design and I think I have an eye for design, so I think I'd be good at it. And it took her like 2 or 3 tries and they're finally like, yeah, you can have this position. And so she got it, and she since does not work there, but she's done basically like freelance graphic design for friends, family. She does a lot of stuff for their church. And so I think Abby was just like, do you want to try Dana?
We were using her for help, a lot of help with like social and like random things like a long time ago. Yeah. And so that's when we were dabbling in it. And I think, we just ended up having conversations about,
just recently, I knew I needed help, and Abby's like, well, why don't we just bring Dana on? And I was we've worked with other designers too in the past, but Dana just fit so well within our business, and her and I worked really well together. Our communication is great. And so, yeah.
It is fun. It's fun to have family. I mean, I think sometimes people are like, oh, it's kind of tricky and hard to work with family, but I don't know. It doesn't.
I think it makes sense.
It's easier.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's, but it is very, everything just works together very nicely. It's very seamless integration. And then our most recent hire, and actually our first official hire. So if you are really curious, like we're an open book and everything, so we talk about this all the time. If you're curious how people are structured in our business right now, we have both like 2 contractors. So Dana and Heidi are contractors for us for now. And then we just hired a part-time employee. So legally, we have our very first employee, and that is Lauren. And she is our SEO explorer. And if you are an SEO client of ours, you probably know who I'm talking about and already love her as much as we do. So Lauren has been a student of mine inside my group coaching program and inside my membership. And I've worked with her for years. Like, she has always been just so eager to learn, so eager to jump into all of the tools and integrate in the community. And yeah, she is incredible. Like, I cannot say, like, there's just so many good things I could say about her.
And she's on Midwest.
Yeah. I mean, she's very nice. Best in Chicago. Yes. So it's very fun. She fits so seamlessly into our business, and she's just already, clients are loving her, and we love her, and everything has just fit so great. So she is my SEO side.
You see how Abby's just saying love, 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 and the whole time prior to this, she was like, no agency.
It's felt natural, and it's felt finally easy to say, like, we can grow as an agency because we have the right people. By the time this episode airs, you might even see a few photos added to our website. We will see. And so you will start seeing a lot more of the amazing team behind the scenes, and nothing will change from the perspective of the duo. That will always remain, but we just have more people that are helping us really step into what we need to for our business. All right. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode talking about how we're building our agency. If you have any questions for us on how we're building it, please let us know. We also are, like, right now not hiring, so that's just making that note.
Please. Yes.
We love getting inquiries like that, and I do file them away in a folder just because I'm like, one day. Anyways, please shout out with questions. We would love to take you behind the scenes of what it's like to continue building this little boutique agency that we have.
If you like this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes dropping every Monday. Plus, if you haven't already, please go ahead and leave us a review, and don't hesitate to share any new episode ideas. We absolutely love hearing from you and creating this content for you. See you next week.